for an opening prayer and pledge the flag. Would bow your heads in prayer with me. Dear God, we are here today. Thank you for all the things that you've given us. Allow us to have the wisdom and the direction that you need to guide this community. Allow us to make decisions you want us to make. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Quite a few announcements tonight. Karen Freeman's daughter-in-law, Cindy DeWitt Karen, is our assistant legal, assistant to Ron in legal department. Cindy passed away Thursday, May 10th. She lived in Owasso, Oklahoma, which is just north of Tulsa. She has her husband and 2 children surviving. Funeral services were today, so if you could keep Karen in your thoughts. Also, Cheryl K. Steer's husband, who is in our finance department, her husband James Steer passed away Saturday. Visitation will be tomorrow from 5 to 8, and funeral services will be held Wednesday at 11 at the Republic First Christian Church. So please keep Cheryl K. Cheryl K. has been an employee, a long-time employee here at the city, so please keep her in your prayers. Also, a special council meeting to be held Wednesday, May 16th. That is this Wednesday, 6 p.m. at the Republic Community Center. And that particular meeting is for the 911 Advisory Board meeting, Greene County Commissioners and us discussing the 911 consultant study that came back. We had asked that the 911 Advisory Board put together a third-party consultant to study whether consolidation was actually the right move or not. That study, the draft proposal is back. There's still some final things to be discussed about it, but the gentleman that has put this particular plan together is coming on Wednesday. There will be a 911 Advisory Board meeting, if I'm not mistaken, Jim, at 6, right before the start of the particular consultant group to present this, but I just want to let everybody know that. Please plan on attending. This is extremely important. The draft copy, if everybody should have either a copy of it or how to get a copy of it, it's about 100 pages long. It's very in-depth, but I please ask that you read the entire thing before you jump to the conclusions at the end. The conclusions reference a lot of the material that is held within the document, so please refer to read the whole thing before you get to that. Also, there was a press release that went out today, and I'm going to read that real quick just to make sure everybody's on the same page. And this went out today. The City Republic, in conjunction with the Greene County Commissioners and the 911 Advisory Board, will hold a special meeting on May 16th beginning at 6 p.m. at the Republic Community Center, 711 East Miller Road. The results from the 911 Dispatch Consolidation and Assessment Draft Report will be presented by the Matrix Consulting Group. There will be ample time available for questions from citizens. Please plan to join us at the Republic Community Center for this very important meeting. And that is results from the Dispatch Consolidation Assessment Draft Report. So please plan on coming to that. And 2 other things. Lastly, before we get to the last one, Mr. Harder had a birthday.
Not yet.
Well, it will be. It's going to be soon enough. And not everyone that I know can rock a pink shirt like you. Just want to let you know, happy birthday, Mr. Harder.
Been doing it since 82.
Yeah, that's right. Happy birthday, Mr. Harder.
Thank you. Ward 3 rocks.
Daniel, what do you want? Go ahead and read to the council what that said up front.
Ward 3 rocks.
Okay, there you go. That's all I need now.
You're welcome, Shane.
I'm sorry, but it wasn't Shane that wrote it.
Right.
And it wasn't Marty either.
Ward 3 does rock.
I'm not going to disagree with you.
Yeah.
And last but not necessarily least, probably the most important thing tonight, Mr. Mike Arnold, will you please stand and come forward? Council, this is Mike Arnold. He's our employee of the quarter.
Right.
I'm going to read a little bit about Mike.
Don't tell him what he'll tell you.
It's a good thing I didn't write all of this, or any of it. I'd had some good stories. But anyway, Mr. Mike Arnold is a team player. This is written by
Staff.
the staff, so this is their opinion of Mr. Arnold. It's all good, trust me.
Oh.
I reviewed it, it's okay.
Man, heard that before.
Mr. Mike Arnold is a team player. He is always ready and willing to lend a hand to his fellow employees. Mike is easy to work with, yet brings a certain professionalism and drive to the task. He sees a vision of what is trying to be accomplished in Public Works and does his best to help attain it. Mike enrolled in, studied for, tested, and received a professional certification as a certified public infrastructure inspector. This is a very prestigious certification that is difficult to attain and is only held by a select few individuals within the entire state of Missouri. Mike successfully completed the certification process because of his own interest in being the most professional construction inspector that he could be for the city and the community. This certification was not a requirement of his employment, but obtaining it was based on his own commitment and dedication to the city. And I will say that that we are always looking to upgrade whenever we have an opening, but we're always asking our employees to upgrade, and Mike certainly did that with this certification. We certainly appreciate that. Mike was a member of the City Republic's Employee Events Committee for the last several years. He's worked hard to help provide employees with a sense of value for what they do within the organization and create fun activities for employees to enjoy. Mike also participates in Republic Historical Society to further the community's knowledge and appreciation for the colorful history of our area. He serves on several committees and projects sponsored by the society. And Mike, we want to certainly thank you for all that you've done this city. And I always see and try to wave at you. I hope you don't wreck when you're doing it, because it's usually kind of late. And I appreciate that. But Mike Arnold, Employee of the Quarter for first quarter 2012. You guys come over here. On behalf of employment, this is your use card. Thank you, sir. Here is a certificate. You got to hold that up so there you take a picture. You have to look at me. One more. Now, this will have your name on it. That will go up in our, it goes in the
Community
community
center.
center on the wall with your name on it. Michael Arnold. Michael, that's a press quote. Would you miss her? And this is our employee of the club. This goes to him, right?
No, it
Oh,
goes,
this goes in that wall too.
yeah.
Very nice. Hold this up.
Historical close vote, I heard.
There were some hanging chads.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you. Mike Arnold, thank you. Now we're clear, with nothing on public hearing. Would like to open it up now to citizen participation. Anyone wishing to speak to anything not on the agenda, please step forward, state your name, sign in, give us your best 3 minutes. I think Eugene Mitchell signed in.
Yeah, I'm Eugene Mitchell.
Thank
I
you,
live at 431 East Harrison. And I got a concern for me and public for you too. The school is going to build a bus barn right directly behind my house. And them buses are going to be parked right up against my property up there. I got 3 houses in there. They're going to ruin the value of my property if they do this. And they're all going to have to come in on Harrison Street. They only got one way in, one way out, one way in. And I think the city ought to really look at this, because you got all them businesses up there. When they start coming in the evening, that bank up there, all the people going in that bank and everything, it's going to be a nightmare.
Okay. We don't have any plans, I don't think, do we?
Nothing as of yet. I know the school district has some bigger plans to do some renovations
Yeah,
and improvements
I've
to
been to
schools.
school and looked at this thing, and they're going, you're going to have lighting and all that in there. It is not a good area.
From our standpoint, Mr. Mitchell, what we can do is look at the plans when they come forward. I also would ask that you approach the school district
I'm
and the
going
school
to.
board and approach them with the same concerns you have with
Right.
us, and approach them as well. As far as what our concern is how the plans look when they come in, and we can take a look at it at that time and see what we can do for your request.
Well, I understand that.
Yes,
But I thought, this is where I should probably start letting you know
Yes,
what
sir.
they're planning on doing, because every bus will have to come in on Harrison, they'll have to go out on Hines. That's only two ways they can get in and out. They can't come in on Hines, so they gotta come in on Harrison Street. And that's a narrow street, and it just ain't, ain't gonna be a good plan for nobody.
Well, let us look at it and see what they have, and please contact them as well.
Okay,
Let-
I'm going to.
Yeah, let them know you contacted us, and we appreciate that.
Okay,
We'll look at what we can look at.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak to the city council of anything not on the agenda, please step forward, state your name, sign in, and give us your best 3 minutes. Okay. Citizen participation closed. Need a motion on the consent agenda?
Motion, second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries 7-0. Financial report, Laura is out ill today, so Mr. Krischke is going to fill in her. Is that correct, sir?
I am going to do my best.
Fantastic.
This month, Laura presents with the council the revenue and expense report. She's got marked on the very front of that interim cash basis. As you know, she's making the switch from a cash accounting system to a accrual system, so she'll be working on that as we close out 2011. So that's still in the works. If anyone has any questions or concerns, I made a couple of highlights in here of areas where you might have questions regarding this report, but this will show you all of the revenues that come into the city, and conversely, it will give you all of the accounting for the expenses. It'll show you the actual month balance for each expense, and then also how it's tracking for the year. Everything appears to be tracking well. I've talked to Laura. She didn't have any major concerns. Some of the things that we've been watching closely, like the fuel the fuel that we use in our vehicles, that's been tracking fairly well to budget. Nothing's unusual. Some of our repair accounts have been hit with some repairs. We've had some in the fire department, some in the public works department, but so far nothing that's alarming and any need for any immediate attention. So everything looks well with that. And then the second one-page report is just the unrestricted cash balances. This is something that Marshall has been doing the audit, got with Laura, and we are now going to be producing a monthly report to council just to show what the cash balances are in each of these funds. You'll notice that they'll fluctuate from month to month. That's pretty normal as cash comes in and cash goes out of the city, but that is an ongoing balance for all of the four accounts.
Questions, comments, discussion from Mr. Krischke on the financial report? Anything at all? I would like to say that transitioning from a cash account to an accrual is probably the best thing for our city. Marshall appreciates that. I did have a conversation with Marshall, our auditor, when he was in, and he says we are doing very, very well with our cash, doing very, very well with our move to an accrual system. Our accrual system is going to be so much more effective for us, and it is the norm that cities use, and we're just not quite there yet. Did not have the systems or the personnel to be involved. But Laura's making that transition, doing that transition for us, and Marshall's right there making sure that we're on the same step. So far, Marshall's very impressed, and he's looking forward to us being more on our own as far as reporting goes. And so everything's working in the right direction. So if there's questions on that, if you guys have questions on anything in financial, please contact Laura or Jim when you get a chance. Need a motion on financial? Well, you're too good, did I? Motion to approve financial report?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Mr. Krischke, you have anything?
Nothing?
Mr. Derrickson, do you have anything?
Nothing.
Mr. Keeling, you seem to do very, very well at whittling this thing down. I'm always impressed that we've gone from 13
11.
to 12 to 11. I swear by the end of the year, we're gonna be at 0.
That'd be a bad thing. Good evening. Future community events, May 17th, toddler tumbling session 3, 5:30 p.m. or 6:45 p.m. Pre-registration is required. May 16th, Messy Munchkins, 10:30 a.m. Pre-registration is required. May 16th, senior Wii bowling. Be surprised how popular this is. This is tremendously
Council
popular.
we bowling.
Have a tournament.
I won my big
No, no.
tournament.
Daniel's in the senior we bowl. Go ahead, we can't.
Understood. Pre-registration is required. May 18th and 25th, toddler story time, 10:30 a.m. is a free event. No registration is required. On May 19th, Wilson's Creek National Battlefield will be hosting Arts in the Park. Performing out there will be the Missouri State University Community Band. May 21st, toddler open gym, 10 a.m. No registration is required. It's $1 per toddler. May 26th, Saturday opening day at the Republic Aquatic Center. We're excited about that and getting ready for that as we speak. May 26th, another Wilson's Creek National Battlefield Arts in the Park, 7 p.m. A performance by High Strung. May 28th, city offices will be closed in observance of Memorial Day. May 28th is also the deadline for brick orders to be used for the construction of the Veteran Memorial. Those have been on sale for quite some time, and that'll be the deadline. And last but not least, the 16th annual Have a Blast celebration will be held on June the 29th at J.R. Martin Park, beginning at 6 p.m.
Hey Jared, how's the Veterans Memorial coming as far as fundraising?
Very well. I haven't done the exact thing. We got quite a few bricks in with the utility bill information, but I had to guess from around 20 or 21 of the
Great.
first 30, so we're doing well on that. So
That's great.
that's all thanks to the people in our community and their fundraising efforts.
Great.
You
So,
got a note down and shoot me an email on the Rec 5 program?
I will do so.
thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, sir. Board Commissioners and Committee Reports, Board of Adjustments is June 7th, Capital Improvements is May 16th, City Council meeting is May 29th and June 11th, and Planning and Zoning is May 21st. On to old business. The next two items, we're going to have updates from Sunny. However, I would like to note that on the second one, it says second reading will be held on May 14th. That should be corrected to May 29th to match the other one. So anybody who is concerned about that, those just need to be the same date. They are, May 29th, the second reading. But on the first one, Sonny, please step forward and give us anything that you have on the update on this particular item, and go from there.
On February 13th, we sent you a proposal to adopt the 2012 ICC codes, and that required a 90-day public comment period, and we received comments. That's a surprise. The comments were basically from the HBA out of Springfield, and they proposed, I think, 12 different changes to the International Residential Code. I attended a meeting in Ozark where we met with building officials from Ozark, Battlefield, Greene County, Christian County, Rogersville, all around the area. We discussed each one of the items and kind of came to a consensus of how or if we should apply these things. And after going through them all, we chose to amend the code, if council agrees, on, I believe, 7 different items. Some of the items deal with electrical. One of them would be the code requires tamper-resistant receptacles. So basically, we felt that homeowners can buy little plastic plugs and put those in themselves rather than making the whole house tamper-proof. Others that they requested was to take out the arc fault breakers for whole houses. We disagreed with that and want to keep those in. Just because the day before the meeting, chief responded and put out a fire that was caused by a dog chewing through an extension cord that these breakers would have probably stopped. So that was pretty convenient. Some of the others, one of the major changes is Chapter 11, which deals with energy efficiency, insulation, windows, doors. The 2012 code is increasing those requirements quite dramatically. We looked at it with the climate that we have here. We kind of came to a consensus that it's probably not a good idea at this time to adopt that chapter, so we're asking to amend it and keep the chapter that we currently have, which is the 2006 edition, which has a little bit lower standards, but it's a great deal of cost to go to the new standard on that. Those are the basic ones that we looked at. There's a couple others in there. A receptacle in unfinished basements, we require that. The new code is requiring a lot more in an unfinished basement. The problem with that is if you install all these receptacles, then they're required to protect those with drywall, so basically you get a finished basement. That may take that home from out of that homeowner's budget. They might not be able to afford it after that. So those are some of the changes. If you have any other questions, I'd be glad to let you, or try to explain them to you as much as I can.
Questions, comments, discussion for Sonny? Mr. Casper, go ahead.
These changes that you're looking at, do you feel that the surrounding communities, I see in the back here, it had Ozark, Nixa, Greene County in general, are they kind of going by the same guidelines?
Right. Yeah, at the meeting, I took a note for each one of the items and how each county or each jurisdiction is going to enforce that. And we are pretty much right in step with everybody else in this area. The only one that we don't have any kind of real information on was Springfield, because they've already adopted the code, and I couldn't get a copy of what they didn't attend the meeting, so I didn't have a copy of that. But as far as everybody else, we're pretty much step in step with what they're going to do, other than Clever and Rogersville, because they're on older versions of the code, and they're not going to update to the 2012 at this time.
Additional questions, comments, discussion on the updates? That would cover both of those or just one?
That would cover mine, right?
Huh?
That would cover the building code portion.
Okay, let's go on and move to the next item.
To the fire code.
Update from the chief on that one.
Unlike the building code, there hasn't been any comments about the fire code. I kind of feel left out. The fire code, a lot of it has to do with hydrant spacing and maintenance of existing buildings, so forth and so on. There are some changes, a lot of clarifications from the 2006 code that we're currently on to the 2012. There were some things when you write codes, as we all know, we write city ordinances, we know what we think they mean, but when it gets published, sometimes we come back and fix Scrivener's errors and so forth and so on. So, there will be one amendment that will come before the next council meeting on page 2 of 5 under section 109.3. We have insert misdemeanor $1,000 or 180 days for the fine. That is supposed to be $100 there, not $1,000. We could leave it at $1,000 if you like. Laura would be happy with that.
$1,100.
Yeah, it's all kind of a little typo there, so we'll fix that. But it needs to be $100, not $1,000.
Make sure we have that amendment before the next meeting.
Other than that, it's business as normal.
All right. Questions, comments, discussion for the chief? Anything at all? Thanks for the updates, chief.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
Before we get off this one.
Yes,
Um,
I'll let Jim jump in real quick.
Yeah, just so everybody is familiar with what's going to happen next meeting on the 29th. The 28th is Memorial Day, so we'll meet on the 29th. This will come back as the first meeting that we can go ahead, as you know, council can go ahead and approve this. The changes that have been recommended from what was originally brought forward, that Sonny gave you an update on and what Dwayne gave you an update on, will be brought forward as amendments. I don't believe we're going to do a substitute bill, so we'll have those typed out and ready to go. So unless there's questions or comments, you know, to change anything, we'll have everything ready to go to make, you know, the necessary changes that were brought forward tonight. So if you do have any comments or questions, if you could get those to Gail or to Sonny, you know, get them to Gail and get them to Sonny, obviously, and we'll look at all those and make sure we get all the answers back. So if you have anything pertinent, make sure that we get it in plenty of time so we can make the necessary changes.
Oh, you're fine. On to the next item, need a motion to have the second reading of bill number 12-35.
Motion?
Second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental cooperative agreement with Greene County for asphalt overlay services.
Motion for final passage of bill number 12-35.
Motion.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Welcome, Mr. Brown. Give us the overview, sir.
This is an annual process for the city for the last, in my tenure, 9 years. We have contracted through Greene County to do our asphalt construction work. This is a very beneficial program for the city where we throw our tonnage in with the surrounding communities in Greene County, and that is bid out to a contractor. Substantial savings. Last time we verified that by getting our old bids was 2008. It was about a 25% savings. So a good way to stretch our local dollars. This would be for the fiscal and calendar year 2012. Part of this exhibit is also we're requesting to expand or increase the amount of road work that we would do this year, adding 3 streets: Peachtree from Elm to Rosewood, White Oak from Elm to Rosewood, and Dogwood from Elm to Rosewood if timing allows. That would be the other streets we intend to do this spring. Dogwood, we need to wait till after a stormwater project in that neighborhood, so if timing allows. Just want to pass out some information real quick. Mr. Krischke asked me to provide just a little bit of background on our overall maintenance program. And what I'm distributing is a 5-year schedule that has been developed. I'll come back to it. This process began with an inspection and pavement analysis, street by street, block by block, inspected asphalt, type of condition it was in, and type of subsurface failure, oxidation, cracking. That information was used to devise an overall condition index. We have streets that are rated on a scale of 0 to 100. We have streets still in the teens. We have streets recently rebuilt in the upper 90s. We take the very worst, 40 and below. We take the very best, 75 and above, and we don't split our dollars quite 50-50, but we're trying to address the worst problems and preserve the best we have in the inventory. It's a bit of a, doing the condition index rating and those kind of things, that's very objective. Looking at the amount of traffic, how long a street might be able to hang on over a number of years, it's a little more subjective. I do want to point out that this is just a starting point. The actual work that is done follows a budgeting process, follows the council approval processes we have tonight. You will see there's a summary table on the front page there. We try to do the same amount of work each year. Cost doesn't stay the same. The rate of inflation, particularly in asphalt work, is not typical for the price of milk. It's tied more closely to the price of oil. And we've been advised to expect this pretty substantial price increase next year through Greene County, but this particular contract, we're keeping the prices fairly level. I'm going to close out with just a couple of pieces of information here. The 5-year plan you had in front of you is 12.5 miles. That's out of an inventory of 100 miles. I heard an interesting bit of information last week. MoDOT intends to resurface Highway 60 through town in 2013. Seems like they just rebuilt that. They're developing a plan that they're going to resurface their entire inventory every 5 years. We have 100 miles. We can afford to do 12.5 miles in a year. The way that equates, if we rebuild your street, it takes 8 5-year cycles. We rebuild your street this year, we'll be back in 4 years. So one of our priorities is to try to
finding a new revenue source or a new revenue mix to try and bump that amount of resurfacing that we do each year.
Before you get there, Mr. Clinkenbeer, I would like to add too that as we go through our capital improvements, the roads and everything, David has put these together in priority for him. Some of these, if you'll notice, have been budgeted. We've got dollars associated with those, but some of that is because of the construction that's going to be going on there that we've planned for in the last couple of years. So just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. For instance, the alleyway, we're having a conversation over the alleyway and some of the other stuff, but like Peachtree, White Oak, Dogwood, there's going to be some construction in that area, at least on one of those streets. So there's going to be some construction there that's going to tear up the road. We might as well resurface the entire thing. The other two, I think, have been in inventory for a while, are going to need it. And they just got put on the list because we need to move those up in priority. Just the simple fact that they're going to go away.
Right. This is strictly a maintenance plan. It is not an improvement plan. So we're hoping that some of our bigger streets, Hines most notably, we're thinking if nothing else happens, it's going to need to be overlaid, and I believe it's towards the end of our 5-year schedule, 2015, 2017 out there, would be our preference to see that road widened and improved. So please keep in mind this is strictly from a maintenance aspect and not with the idea of doing improvements to those facilities.
Full rebuild. Mr. Clinkenbeer, go ahead, sir.
You know, if the city's built on an even pace, the 5-year, 10-year plans work out pretty well, but am I right in saying that like in the 05 through 08 time period where there was a boom in new subdivisions, that a lot of the mileage was added and that all of those will come due about the same couple of years, or we'll have a lot more maintenance to do at that time?
That's correct, but I would point out that they changed the asphalt, the thickness standards about 2001. So when we really saw that boom, we were putting down 7 inches of asphalt. That just adds a little bit of extra life. The majority of streets that we're rebuilding now, you have 2 inches of asphalt, and if you're lucky, there's a little bit of rock under there. So don't really know what that effect is going to look like when we hit that. Probably year 15 to 20 on all those new subdivisions is going to be when the rubber hits the road, so to speak.
So towards the end of this particular plan, it'll probably start accelerating, and is why we need to try to transition and find you some more cash.
That is correct.
Thanks, Dave.
Additional questions, comments, discussions? Anything at all? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Councilmember Poole?
Aye.
Councilmember Cassegrain?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Councilmember Brashear?
Aye.
Councilmember Groom?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson?
Aye.
Councilmember Clinkenbeard?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. On to the next item. Need a motion to have the second reading of bill number 12-36.
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, amending Schedule I, Table 1A, General Speed Zones of the Republic Traffic Code.
Need a motion to have the final passage of bill number 12-36.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Mr. Brock, give us the overview, sir.
This bill would amend only one speed zone in the Schedule 1, that is Sawyer Road west of MM Highway. The staff is recommending a increase from 30 to 40 miles an hour. That's based on a speed study that was conducted as well as the road characteristics.
Questions, comments, discussion for Mr. Brock? Anything at all? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Councilmember Clinkenbeard?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson?
Aye.
Councilmember Groom?
Aye.
Councilmember Brashear?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Councilmember Casagran?
Aye.
Councilmember Poole?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, sir. Need a motion to have the second reading of bill number 12-37.
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, annexing approximately 1.43 acres owned by Reichard Stone and Garden LLC, located at 7526 West US Highway 60 in Greene County, Missouri.
Need a motion for final passage of bill number 12-37.
Motion. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Welcome, Ms. Nile. Please give us the overview.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm serving in the absence of our new father in the City of Republic, and that's Mr. Garrett Tyson, who is daddy now to a little 7-pound, 12-ounce I think it is, little girl, Charlie Elizabeth. So if you see Garrett or happen to think of him in your prayers, and he may need them right now, please do so.
He needs sleep right now.
He does. They both need sleep right now.
I
know. Amen to that.
It starts a little sooner than that. You know that.
This particular bill this evening, if passed by the council, will basically pull the trigger on a consent to annex for the Richard Stone and Garden, which operates a landscaping company on Highway 60, approximately 1.43 acres. It's on 2 separate tracts of land, and originally when the establishment was built, it was in Greene County. At that time, they thought they would be receiving water and sewer from a neighboring property. That was not able to be arranged or worked out. So at this time, at that time, they actually signed an irrevocable consent to annex, and at this time, we are asking them to annex into the city for water and sewer services.
Questions, comments, discussion from Ms. Noggle. Mr. Grooms?
Do they know we're pursuing it at this time?
I'm sorry, sir?
Do they know that we're pursuing it at this
Yes,
time?
oh yes, they do.
It's never been mentioned, so.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yes, they do.
Other questions, comments, or discussion?
I'll give my 2 cents.
We get change back. Anything else? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Councilmember Poole?
Aye.
Councilmember Casagran?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Councilmember Brashear?
Aye.
Councilmember Grooms?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson?
Aye.
Councilmember Clinkenbeard?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Need a motion to have the second reading of bill number 12-38.
Motion. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, amending the zoning code and official map by changing the classification of approximately 71 acres owned by the estate of Robert L. Blanton, located adjacent to James River Freeway at 7306 West Farm Road 144, from agricultural AG to general commercial C2.
Need a motion to have final passage of bill number 12-38.
Motion.
Second.
I have lots of motions and
Whatever.
lots of seconds. Welcome, Gail. Give us
Thank
the
you.
overview, ma'am.
Yes, sir. I am currently looking at the rezone of approximately 71 acres. The passage of this particular bill will allow this property to come in from ag to general commercial C2. If you'll look at the map that has been provided you in your packet, you'll notice that a portion of this is bisected by James River. All of this, however, in the future land use plan is designated as higher intensity. So what they have asked to come in as C2 will fall into that category and actually be a lesser use. Although this particular property is not part of the PDD for the Eclipse Center, it is associated with that particular development.
Questions, comments, discussion from Ms. Nog on this particular rezone.
How is it associated?
This particular property is going to be used based on the applicant's recommendation for a recreational vehicle park that would be associated with the Eclipse Center, but not a portion of the actual PDD that was involved originally.
Same people, different projects.
Same people.
Mr. Wilson?
On both sides of James River?
No, sir, the portion that would be considered on the north side of James River is not part of what they are requesting, but because it is all in the same description and parcel, they are asking for the entire portion to be rezoned.
Other questions, comments, discussion? Anything at all? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Councilmember Clinkenbeard,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson,
Aye.
Councilmember Grooms,
Aye.
Councilmember Brashears,
Aye.
Councilmember Harder,
Aye.
Councilmember Casagran,
Aye.
Councilmember Poole,
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Thank you very much. Need a motion to have the second reading of bill number 12-39.
Motion?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, amending the zoning code and official map by changing the classification of approximately 6 acres owned by Gary and Bonnie Iser, located at 4109 South Farm Road 103, from multifamily residential R3 to local commercial C1.
Need a motion to have final passage of bill number 12-39.
Motion? Second.
Welcome, Gail. Give us the overview, please.
Thank you. This 10-acre parcel basically contains a single-family resident zoning classification currently. The applicant has asked to section off 6 acres to be considered for local commercial, which would be a C1, the less intensity of the commercial zoning classification. This really does comply with the future land use plan, although the majority of that was for multifamily housing because of the development of the high school and some other entities that have taken place out there in that area. We do feel like it falls into the category for the long use plan. So the 6 acres would be designated for commercial C1.
Questions, comments, discussion for Gail?
Like the northern portion staying on.
Correct. It'd be the northern portion. Rezoning to southern 6 acres.
Additional questions, comments, discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Councilmember Poole,
Aye.
Councilmember Casagran,
Aye.
Councilmember Harder,
Aye.
Councilmember Brashears,
Aye.
Councilmember Grooms,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson,
Aye.
Councilmember Clinkenbeard,
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Gail. On to new business. Need a motion to have the first reading of bill number 12-40.
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, authorizing the City of Republic, Missouri to enter into an agreement with the Combined Ozarks Multi-Jurisdictional Enforcement Team, COMET, and for the Republic Police Department to participate as a member agency in COMET.
Thank you, Brenda. Chief Lowe, welcome. Give us the overview, sir.
Well, in about 1993, the City of Republic was one of the original group of agencies that joined with COMET, which is, as Brenda had stated, the Combined Ozark Metropolitan or Multi-Jurisdictional Enforcement Team. It's a drug task force. It's funded through different federal grants, state grants, and through asset forfeiture. It doesn't cost us anything, but they've been a great asset to us, and Mr. Kriski's aware of a couple of the search warrants and things they've done in Republic that are somewhat protracted or use undercover officers that we wouldn't be successful in. So it's been a great benefit to us to participate, and we have been participating all along since 1993. And basically this is just a methodology to make sure all of the legal paperwork for all the intergovernmental agreements are cleaned up so we don't have any legal technicalities.
Questions, comments, discussion for Chief? Anything at all? This this is a first read, so if you have questions, comments in between now and the next meeting, please either ask those questions at the next meeting or get with Chief for clarification on a point. Thank you, sir. On to other business resolutions and discussion. First item, resolution number 12-R-18, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Republic of Missouri authorizing the police department to apply for 3 reimbursable 2012-2013 Missouri Highway Safety Program for traffic enforcement grants. Need a motion?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Chief Lowe, give us the overview, sir.
Well, these are a continuation of things that have been a great benefit to us over the last several years. As some of you are aware, and some of you participate in our DUI checkpoints, they fund all of those. They purchase traffic cones, they purchase safety vests, flares.
You might want to clarify that.
They are volunteers for the police department and the administration of the DUI checkpoints.
Thank you for the
Notion.
clarification.
They are not subject to investigation.
Jim and I were out there participating, helping with traffic, but he acted like we were actually in it. I'm like, well, no, we were in it, watching traffic go through. But anyway, Chief, continue with your wonderful, exquisite overview.
And the entertainment value is high. We won't get into any personal injuries I suffered.
When I watched him run off chasing that person, he ran about 80 yards. Ryan was there. He ran about 80 yards, if that. Maybe it was 80 feet, I don't know. It was in the dark. He came, but I've never seen him move so fast. Ryan, did you see him move? Did you see the flash, or was it? It was a blur.
And then it was pointed out to me that, Chief, you've got a lot of younger officers. Let them chase the bad guys.
Yeah, it was definitely pointed out to you numerous times as you were hobbling. Anyway, as you please continue, Chief, with
I
your
will continue to elucidate on this topic.
Continue, sir, as our Missouri Highway Traffic Safety Program enforcement.
This is a reimbursable grant, and on most categories, we are applying for $10,000 for the hazardous moving enforcement, and that's basically just overtime costs for our personnel to be out trying to enforce hazardous movement, which is road rage or other types of tailgating, running stoplights, doing other things like that. We've got the sobriety checkpoints. We're requesting $12,000 for that, and that's personnel overtime cost. And then just general DUI enforcement, which is a large portion of that, will be overtime costs, but we've requested a grant for 4 in-car video cameras. So we're going to do a 50% match based, and I've discussed this with Mr. Kriske and Laura. We've got $9,000 currently budgeted, so we're going to be requesting money in addition to that through them, so we can purchase 4 cameras instead of just the 2. So we're hoping that will be successful. We'll be a few months finding out, but that's basically the $41,390 we're requesting.
And that is a request to apply. This is what this vote's for. It's not to actually get it, it's to request to apply. That's what we want to make sure everybody's understood. Questions, comments, discussion with the Chief regarding the grant? If there are questions and comments, discussion regarding his injuries, you can ask those after the meeting. However, on this particular item, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstention? Motion carries. Thanks, Chief. Resolution number 12-R-19, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator into a lease agreement for the city property located at 210 North Walnut Avenue. Need a motion?
Motion. Second.
I have a motion, second. Welcome, Gail.
Thank you. This is a resolution that is addressing a lease that we've had with the Village Pottery Cafe at the building located on North Walnut Avenue. We entered into a lease with Sonia Rippey in 2009. It was a 3-year lease with an incubator concept. And for those of you that, I know you know what an incubator concept is, but just kind of as a refresher, the intent was to invite a merchant into the downtown area that was well established currently, but would like to have considered a different location for moving their particular business. And Sonia was one of those individuals that we came across. The concept on incubator is to bring people into an area, offer them very minimal rent, if actually in many cases no rent sometimes is charged in the true incubator concept. And we took that same concept and offered Village Pottery Cafe a 3-year lease with a very sliding scale, very minimal. It was $125, I believe, the first year, $150 the second, and then $175 the third year, with the hopes that as they were established and built their business, that we could then bring them up to a more marketable and agreeable rental of that particular building. This incubator concept, in every sense, has worked really as it's supposed to. And that doesn't always work that way. It's only as successful as the business operator, quite frankly. And she has proven herself tenfold. I think all of you would agree with that as far as the number of people that go into her establishment, frequent it. She added a coffee and Danish component by our request at first, and then it's grown into quite the place for lunch. And as a result of that, we have requested, and she as well agreed, to enter into another 3-year term lease with the full expectation of paying a more compatible monthly rental. I did check with several realtors in town and visited with a few others outside of the area to get a feel on what that particular space would rent for. We heard anything from $600 to $800 a month. When you take $175 and go up that far, that's quite a sticker shock value. So we were just very open with Sonia, had conversation and discussion on what would you be comfortable with, where do you think you could still be successful, and we came up with the lease arrangement that is outlined in your agreement, and that would be beginning in June, $500 a month. The second year would be up to $525, with the third year at $550. All the other provision would remain the same. She would continue to pay her utilities. We would continue to provide outside maintenance on the building in addition to lawn service. And all the other specifics in the agreement that had been laid out by our city attorney would remain the same. We have had a few incidents where we had to coax a little bit as far as business license renewal. Jim, I don't know if you wanted to go into any of that or not, but we are still waiting for a couple of documents for our business license to be renewed. At this time, we have full expectations that she will meet those requests, but for whatever reasons, we do not have a current business license.
So I'll address that one right up front with council. It's hard to go into an agreement without a proper business license that we need to execute this contract. Therefore, I would like to make that suggestion, Ron and Jim are comfortable with it, that we execute this particular agreement for 30 days, and then after that, allow her some time to get the appropriate documentation to receive the business license, and then after that, allow Jim to, you stated it better than I did.
One thing council could consider, well, there's several different options. One, you could just say, we're not gonna renew it because you haven't got your license. Just terminate it, right? I don't know when it terminates.
We have to have a 30-day agreement on that, but it terminates, I believe, the end of May. I think she's paid up through the end of May. I would need to double check that on it.
You could deny this and instruct that we give 30 days notice of termination. You could authorize, just flat out, go ahead and say, we don't care, go ahead and extend it for 3 years. Or you could do a modified version of that, is authorize Jim to enter into a 30-day extension of the agreement from the end of May, or whenever the last date is, with notice being given that if you're not in compliance within the next 30 days, then at the end of that 30 days, the agreement terminates. If, however, you get in compliance during that 30 days, council is authorizing Jim to go ahead and execute the 3-year agreement.
What are the issues that are preventing her from getting a business license?
It's not our business. That's our business.
Okay.
My question is a little different, but on the same note, when was it due? The first of the year?
Yeah, and we've sent letters.
Okay, so it's been 5 months, so my thought is that for the people who do have theirs in or operating properly in the city, we shouldn't reward the individual for not operating under, you know, I'm for giving her maybe a 30-day extension, but I wouldn't reward her with a 3-year contract if she's not operating properly.
That'd be up to you.
But
Why does the lease have to be tied to the business license? Is that by statute, or is it by?
No, this is, the situation is we're a landlord, and we're also the enforcement agency for business licenses. And here we are telling everybody else they've gotta have a business license, and our own tenant doesn't have a business license.
right.
Good point.
That's the issue.
Good point.
How much is the business license on that property?
Excuse me?
How much is the business license?
Like $25?
$50.
50.
But there,
If they can't-
for clarification now, let me make sure, Mr. Bashirs, for clarification, it's not necessarily just paying 50 and moving on.
Understand.
There's quite a bit that goes along with that they have to meet certain requirements from us, from the state and the county. So once those are established, then they can pay the $50. But they have to have all that documentation in a packet to Brenda with the check. We go back, check it off. Once we check it off, then we issue the business license. But it has to have all the documentation, and we're just waiting for her to complete that documentation. Mr. Harder?
And that's feasible to attain that in 30 days.
Yes.
So I would agree with Jeff that you give them a 30-day extension, and if they do come through with do we need to make an amendment to that, or?
Well, do we give them the 30 days at the current 175 or whatever rate and move the new rate to start like July 1, or can we
Well,
give them 30 days under the new rate of 500?
I think just the way Gail described it, they're under the $175 until this
June
current
1.
lease agreement terminates, and then as of June 1st, they would go to the new rate, even if it is just a 30-day extension.
Okay. So we approve the new rate, but only for 30 days, basically.
Unless they come into compliance, and
And
then
then Jim would have the authority to.
go ahead and extend it.
But that is not what's in front of you.
I'll
You
make
want-
a motion for the change, if that's what you're needing.
That's what I'm asking. If
Okay,
that's what you
I'm
want to
making
do.
a motion for the change to move to a 30-day notice, that they can move under the new contract for 30 days, and they have 30 days to come under compliance, and then Jim will have the authority to move forward from there if they come under compliance.
Okay, that's your motion.
Seconded.
I have a motion and a second. Now I need a motion and a second on the amendment. Nope, wait.
That was the
Motion,
amendment.
that wasn't.
We need a vote on that.
That's why we've got a motion and a second. Need a vote on the amendment as speaking. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Now that's where we are. We're voting on that particular item as it is. The amendment has been made, it's been passed. Now any other discussion on this particular item that you have? Mr. Wilson, go ahead, sir.
Now, what did you say about the maintenance on the building? That we would take care of that, or she would take care of it?
The exterior building itself, maintenance would continue to be done by the city. Any
Well,
interior,
That's common for a landlord.
Here on item 4, maintenance, it kinda says different. Or am I reading it wrong?
well, let me see if I'm reading it wrong. Minor exterior structural and interior maintenance, minor exterior. If there is any structural damage on the outside, that is, I guess, categorized as other than minor,
City shall be responsible.
then the city is responsible for that, for all
Minor's like
major.
washing windows and
Light bulbs.
Yeah.
Loose shingle.
Okay.
Watch your style, Mr. Wilson. Additional questions, comments, discussion from Ms. Nyla?
Is she gonna be able to, absorb, I mean, that's quite a rent jump. And we've frequented, I have 2 young daughters, we've frequented that business several times. That's quite a rent jump for that little business. Do you feel like this incubated business we've just incubated might get overwhelmed by this?
Might get hatched.
Yeah.
She and I had a very candid conversation on this. I don't know how much more explicit I could have been, or how much more open I could have been to, hey, is this going to be too big of a jump? This is major. We talked about the percentage of her revenue increase from year to year. We talked about some of the things that she was planning, and she is very much.
So we've done what we could do.
And actually, the original amount of 500 was originally thrown out by her.
Oh.
Additional questions, comments, discussion for Gail? Hearing it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you, Gail. Resolution number 12-R-20, resolution of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, awarding the bid and authorizing the city administrator into an agreement for the production of a fireworks show at the City of Republic's 16th Annual Have a Blast Independence Day celebration scheduled for June 29th, 2012 at the J.R. Martin Park. Motion? Need a motion?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Welcome, Mr. Keeley.
Thank you, sir.
Give us the overview, sir.
Certainly. When bidding out a fireworks show, it's a little bit different than what else, everything else we do here. We pretty much have a set amount we give the companies to bid on every year. This year was $8,000. And in return, they give us a overview of a display or a summary of how many fireworks we can get for that, shot counts, shell size, things of that nature. Before we get started, I do want to point out an error I made in the calculations on AM Pyrotechnics LLC on the 4 to 6 inch shell count. That count should be 346 instead of 323. Just as a point of accuracy. As you can see, between AM and DDT, there's a little bit of varying degree, but those are the top two as far as what we went to consider. DDT has a significant number of greater amount of shells in the 2 to 3 inch range, and AM Pyrotechnics would be with the new count. The accurate count would be up about 121 in the 4 to 6 inch range. When looking at these two, made some phone calls to both of them. Obviously, AM Pyrotechnics, fairly familiar with, fire department's very familiar with. We've done our show the last 4 or 5 years. But definitely want to be open to new companies as well. So contacted DDT. First thing I wanted to make sure is everything was buttoned up as far as insurance and everything goes. Try to be clear to that when I put out the bid summary, but you never know. So I requested both from A&M and DDT. It turns out DDT did not meet our statutory requirements for insurance. We require roughly 2.6 general liability. They had the standard $1-2 million policy. So when I found that out, just as a side note, AM had $5 million insurance. So I contacted DDT back and I said, it looks like you meet our insurance. Would you care to check with your insurance provider, see what he would charge you for the uptick on the insurance, and then get back to us with the revised bid? So the gentleman from DDT did that. He phoned his insurance company, called me back early this afternoon actually, and told me the cost for that to go up to our requested amount of insurance is far above and beyond what he would be willing to pay to, he quoted me $10,000. That seems like a whole lot to me, but that's what he said. So he said there's no way he could incur that kind of expense to get up to our requested statutory insurance amounts. Based on that alone, I'm definitely comfortable with, I do think this is one instance where we definitely need to have the statutory insurance amounts, high amount of liability involved in fireworks. So based on that alone, I'm definitely comfortable with going with AM Pyrotechnics. Like I said, they did our show before. I think our fire chief can speak to their level of safety. I think they've done a tremendous job for us, and that's who I'm going to recommend.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny. Questions, comments, discussion? Mr. Kuchenberg, go ahead, sir.
You mentioned last year that even if DD was in there, the 4 to 6 inch shells, I know a lot of people like me are in the park and watch it from, Walgreens or somewhere on, a little farther distance. Those get up higher and you can see the display a little better. So that particular column, even though the other one had a whole bunch of the smaller shells, that's great if you can sit underneath it.
Right. I appreciate you saying that. I've learned a lot about fireworks in the last weekend. I actually been quite enjoyable, but for every inch of firework you have, it roughly goes up 110 feet in the air. So you get 5 inch shell goes up 550 feet in the air. So that's a long way. 3 inch shell, obviously 300 feet. So and
that makes a big difference over the trees and water tower and everything.
And just comparatively speaking, a 3 inch shell versus a 5 inch shell, you're talking about 3 times the price there almost as well. So, but absolutely, that's one of the things I've never really got out and seen until last year. The amount of people that in our city that watch the show from other than in the park, but it's
a lot.
Really nice. Yeah.
Other questions, comments, discussion, Mr. Keeley?
I've always had a good show.
Done well for us. They really have.
Always have.
Yes.
Been better every year.
With no accidents.
Yep.
We need to make a motion on that?
Oh, I just need a vote if you guys are ready.
We need to make a motion on
Oh,
AM,
We
right?
need to accept, motion to accept
Yeah.
whichever
Make a motion to accept the Pyrotechnics.
Ron, one quick thing, the resolution has a blank in it, do we need it?
That's what they're
Okay.
doing right now.
That's what I'm filling in.
Yeah.
That motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor of a motion to accept AM Pyrotechnics, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Now we need to vote on the actual bill.
Actual resolution.
Additional questions, comments, discussion before we take the official vote? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Keel.
Thank you.
On the last item, resolution number 12-R-21, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, declaring an additional one-year suspension of the consideration of and/or final approval of new or expired developmental proposals in certain multifamily residential districts. Need a motion?
Motion.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Thank you, Mr. Krischke. This is all yours, sir. Thank you very much. Give us the overview.
I will definitely give the overview. This has been a super long process. It's really started in 2008, and each year we start with a 6-month moratorium or suspension, whatever you want to call it, and then we've had multiple one-year extensions to today. And where we are right now is a redraft of the current zoning and subdivision code. So right now, where current codes are, we have a zoning codes in our city codes, municipal codes, and we also have subdivision regulations. The thought and the desire was to combine those two into a unified code. We did a lot of research early on, determined that one of the better unified codes that is out there is one used by a city called Raymore out by Kansas City. We were able to obtain their code. Theirs was written by a group of professional land planners and attorneys that specialize in this, so it's very well done. Their particular code isn't perfect by any stretch of the means to Republic, so even though we can use the outline and use a lot of the language and sections and stuff that they put into that, we still need to customize it to Republic. It's been a long process. We're finally at a point where we've got a draft just about complete, and what I'm requesting this evening is that we go for a 1-year with extension, and then at the back of the exhibit you'll see a timeline, and this is what I would suggest. This is a tentative date. None of these are set in stone, but just a tentative schedule that we can present the new zoning code to City Council in workshops. Give about a 6-week period in between time to let everybody have their input and time to digest things. And then as we get towards the early part of next year, make sure we go through the proper public hearings, planning commission, and that sort of thing. Along with the zoning, or with the City Council workshops, I would recommend that we also have a planning and zoning contingent there as well, because they're going to be a big part of this. So have both individual groups look at those changes, make whatever recommendations, and then hopefully by the time we get to April, we'll have a finished product. Along with this, there's also going to be a need to do a map amendment on our future land use map or comprehensive plan. That isn't going to be extraordinarily major, but still in all, it should be done every few years as well. So the timing to do that in conjunction with this would be just about right. But we are hopefully on the downhill side of this, but it's been a long time. The good news, even though there is a suspension in place and it does limit new developments in the multifamily range, there's been absolutely no activity whatsoever for any new projects. Anything that has the existing zoning, those are excluded. They can do whatever they would like, just as they normally would, but this would be for anything new.
And this correspondent Jim touched on, I want to make sure we emphasize this, is that by going this route, we're allowing us some time within our code right now to allow us to get to a unified code. And that's what this schedule is on the back, to get us to a unified code of our regulations. I will say that if this council so chooses, when we get to the point where we pass the unified code, we will be probably one of the only unified code cities in the state. Very few unified code cities. It is the way to go, but it is very difficult to get there. Very difficult to get there. However, it is the way to go for the future, and that's what we're looking at. However, this is talking about continuing that moratorium and allowing us time to get our unified code in place, and then coming back and giving us a year to do so with the moratorium on multifamily. Questions, comments, discussion, Mr. Crooms?
No.
You leaned forward like you were gonna say something, I was all over it.
I was tired, not council.
Okay. Very good. Mr. Quickenbeard?
Not to beat up Jim or anything, it's nice that I've been here over a year now, so I can say, oh, last year we did this. But, is the timing realist? I know when we went through this last year, like, oh, we'll close ourselves in offices and do whatever it takes.
He
Is
has.
this- Oh, I'm sure, you've got a ton of things, so I didn't mean, is this fairly realistic to timeline?
I'm close now to being, and here's what we've done. We went down the path first of trying to get a group of us together and trying to come up with revisions, and that was almost impossible for all of us to try together and rewrite something. And Gail's put a lot of time into this, Garrett has put a lot of time into it, Ron, and finally what it's come down to is I've just taken on the chore of actually writing it. It's going to be by no means perfect and acceptable to everybody, but trying to take all of the thoughts and comments that we've all discussed, try to put them into the initial draft, and then everybody can, council especially in planning and zoning, could tear it all apart and we can just rewrite it. But at least we've got a structure to work by. But I'm the most disappointed in it because what seemed like something should be easy process turned into a whole lot more time consuming, and when I see the amount of money and time that Raymore put into it, I can certainly understand.
Sure.
It's enormous, but we're pretty close. The biggest question is going to come when you get down to the nitty-gritty of the code, things like, do you want sidewalks on both sides of the streets, in your new developments, what kind of landscaping requirements, road widths. Even though it's a unified code, it'll read a little bit differently, but it's not going to function a whole lot differently than what we have. It's just going to be a whole lot easier to follow for a developer, for council, for staff. There's going to be a whole lot of advantages to it when it's all done, but when you get down to making sure it's right for Republic, that's where council and planning and zoning need to weigh in.
Like I said, I didn't mean to beat you up.
Oh, no, I beat myself up all the time over it.
I know you got plenty to do, and I hate
No,
for it to be
I-
even on your shoulders.
Well, when he calls me at
No.
9 o'clock or 9:30 at night one night, and says, I'm just now leaving, just wanna let you know about this, and this that happened today. And I said, what have you been doing? Well, I've locked myself in the office and I'm working on the code after work because he says the phone rings too much, and I said, well, I'll quit calling. And, but anyway, it is a laborious process, it really is. In this time frame, I think Jim's got it set out where he's comfortable with it. And we discussed it at partner meeting, and we're fairly comfortable with the time frame as well, so. But anyway.
No, it'll be done.
It's
really, right now, and pardon me, one of the components, and I absolutely will admit, I know little about how it actually, I know how it works, but I don't know how to write it all, is all the technical jargon that goes into the stormwater regulations. And I haven't even begun to look at that because that's far from my expertise. That's something that David and John Forrester will have to review, and they'll get a copy of that here shortly, and they can look it over, make sure it meets what is best for Republic. But it is relatively close.
But that is part of this, that is part of that schedule in the back, that's how we're discussing that. But at this time, do you have questions or comments regarding the moratorium on multifamily for one more year extension? That is what's in front of you. Anything at all? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. As the last item on the agenda, I would like to make mention, we will be going into executive session. After executive session, there will be no further action taken other than an announcement of adjournment by myself, and that concludes concludes the business of the open session, general and executive session. Next, I would like to, need a motion to go into executive session under RSMO 610.021.2.
Motion. Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Councilmember Poole?
Aye.
Councilmember Cosgren?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Councilmember Brashear?
Aye.
Councilmember Grooms?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson?
Aye.
Councilmember Clinkenbeard?
All right. Motion carries 7-0. We'll take a 5-minute recess. My meeting's adjourned. Thank you.